unmute myself. Oh, there we go. All right. Hey team. So trying to advance the setup here a little bit and actually have a screen share going today. And I know the last couple of videos were a bit long. I am super impressed that some of you or however many of you found it engaging enough to listen to the whole like 16-minute video from yesterday. So kudos. This one I will aim to have much shorter. And this one's really specifically about the first month promo. So the first month ad upgrade, the first month promo. So if you don't know what that is, and I'll probably follow this up. In fact, I will follow this up with an email and an overview of the first month promo. But I want to share some tips for ways that it's being used in a very effective manner, because there's definitely ways to use tools that are not effective, right? If I took a screwdriver and I tried to hammer a nail in the wall with the handle, it might work. In fact, it probably could work in many cases or some cases, but it's going to be messy. I could even break the screwdriver. I might just mess up the whole thing, or it takes a lot longer than it needs to. So when I think of the first month promo or first month upgrade as a tool, I really want to think about how do I use it most effectively? Simple, right? We have this theme going right now of simplicity as a form of sophistication. So let's talk about it. I have the ad size slide pulled up here, and there's two ways to really use the first month promo that I'm seeing work super well, or just best. It's on this slide, and it is, oops, let me go here, on the next slide as well. So this slide and this slide, and I'll show you what I mean by that, if it's going to let me go back and forth. So we all know on this slide, what does perfect look like? It looks like, we educate them, we inform them in terms of how to choose an ad size. We run through the different sizes. This is 1/8 of a page. It's perfect for a small business or startup company with desire to grow, all the way through. Hey, earlier when we were in the publication tour, you mentioned you really like that back cover. That's also one of these high profile opportunities. When it comes to ad size, how do you see your business? And that question is important. In fact, it's so important, it's written on the slide. Now, I do know sometimes in business and life, we find some resistance to something and we try to change things. That's not the best thing to do on this slide. The best thing to do on this slide is to figure out how do I get them to choose an ad size? It's sort of like when you're making dinner for someone. Now, you may have someone in your life, you make dinner for them or the kids or whoever, family, friends, and they just chomp at the bit. You're an amazing chef, and it doesn't matter what you make, they're going to eat all of it. If that's your experience, fantastic. I might be reaching out to you for some recipes. But what most of us normal folks go through, and actually got to make sure this is okay. Cool, we are recording. I just have to check on the recording. But what most of us normal folks encounter is maybe a little resistance to eating whatever it is that we make. And so, how do we get people to really eat what's on their dinner plate, or in this case, for this slide, choose their own ad size? And why do we want them to choose their ad size? Well, the human psychology behind it is that when someone participates in the decision, they feel empowered, right? So we know that a great presentation, we're not doing something to somebody, we're doing it with them. This is an important, pivotal part of doing it with somebody. What does that look like? It looks like them choosing their ad size, right? So we ask that question, perfect world, they go, oh man, 1/3 of a page. It's perfect for that, 1/4 page client looking for an extra edge. So they say something like, yeah, 1/3 of a page. We're looking for that extra edge. Fantastic. That's perfect. What happens sometimes? What happens maybe even regularly? We get a little streak of it. Someone goes, well, it really depends on pricing. Just first off, no, that's totally normal. And can you just go ahead and pick something for them and move forward? Yeah, it's going to be a little harder though, most of the time. Now, I will say there's an exception. The exception would be, and this is probably 1 out of 100 appointments. It's not something that happens very regularly, for most people, but they might say, well, what do you think I should do? Right now, that's the scenario. That's the exception where you would actually say, hey, based on everything you've shared with me, I believe the half page or, insert whatever makes sense for the conversation here. That's when we give a recommendation. The forcing our recommendation, or here's what I think you should do, that can create more friction in the buying process. And we want to make this again together. So first month promo, 2 ways to introduce it. I almost feel like I should kind of give some tips on when someone says, well, it depends on pricing. So I'll just throw one extra thing in there. And that is, if you encounter that the first time you ask, you just have to figure out a way to invite some new information into the conversation and ask again. It might sound something like, hey, totally get it. That price can make a difference. I have hundreds of different options or combinations of ad campaign. So it is really hard to just jump straight into things and look at pricing. But based on what we went over here, the different ad sizes and ad types, if we weren't thinking about price, so we at least have a good starting point when it comes to ad size. How do you see your business? And I personally don't even like the phrase starting point because now you're implying that you're just starting with something. But I really want to move into this next phase with them, having a solid choice, a solid idea in mind. Again, they're choosing. So that's one way you can work through it. Let's say that still doesn't work. This is like backup option number 3. So they've said they haven't chose something. The third option would simply be, okay, hey, great. Do me a favor real quick. I think this will help out. Read through these different descriptions and let me know when you're done. And I can tell you, I use that personally when I would encounter some resistance to them choosing ad size. Once upon a time, they would read through it, and almost always one of 2 things would happen. One is they would get partway through and go, yep, you know what, quarter page, third page, or eighth of the page. They'd barely get through the reading. They're like, yeah, you know what, this is the one, because now they're absorbing the education for what makes for a good ad size in our publications. Even if they've advertised before and they've done, whatever elsewhere, that may not be what is best for them in our publication, right? Our publications are different. They're niche, micro-targeted, community-based publications. So if they ran a full page and they paid, $1,000 a month for a full page and some, 15,000 distribution where 80% of them go in a recycle bin or a trash somewhere, they may not need a full page with us. They may still want to spend $1,000 a month, but we have to help them understand that a different ad size might be best. I'm kind of going on some tangents here. I know it says going to try to keep this tight. So anyways, there's the concept of we want them to choose their ad size. Okay, first month promo. Here we go. I'm just going to focus on this. Try not to go down any extra paths. But the first month promo, you can introduce it here as well. Here's another way to help them choose an ad size. And it might sound something like, they're like, well, probably somewhere between a quarter page or third page. But I don't really know, or they're just they're a little bit struggling to choose an ad size, or they're very much hung up on it. You could simply introduce it and say, hey, we can start with something that's doable for you. And I can actually give you a larger ad size for the first 3 months, or you can say first month, right? See how you like it. I think the first 3 months is a really strong way to do this. It has a bit more impact. So some version of, they go, they're kind of having trouble making a decision, and we don't want to interrupt them if they're thinking. Obviously, we need to give silence so people can think about something and process. But when you find that point where it makes sense, hey, what I can do is we can start with something that's doable for you, and whether that's the quarter page or third page, and I can give you the next larger ad size for free for the first 3 months, just to see how you like it. How does that sound? They'll go, okay, sweet. And now they're going to just lean into something, right? Remember, we want them to start with something. They can always go up later, right? It's better to have someone on board at a quarter page than them be thinking about a third page and not do anything. So that helps them move into the next spot. So now I'm going to go to the second place you might like to introduce it. So I'd pick one of these 2 places. I wouldn't do it in both places, but you see over here where it says bonus first appointment discount. Now there's a variety of ways that this is introduced. The most common way, the way that is, what would you consider orthodox, is simply letting people know, hey, by the way, I come equipped with a first appointment incentive. It helps save time and money. So I'll go ahead and include that in the pricing, right? Very simple, lets them know. That way you can highlight it when you're going through the different options. Some people, this is a more old school way that we used to teach. And I know some like the idea of the question as well. They'll say some version of, hey, by the way, you'll see here it says, bonus first appointment discount. In order to save both time and money, I do come equipped with a first appointment incentive. When I go to write up the pricing, would you like it with or without that? Most people are going to say, yeah, I absolutely want the first appointment incentive, right? Now you're priming them to make a decision the first time. So how do we introduce the first appointment promotion here? Well, you would simply, where it says first appointment discount, just include it there. Hey, you'll notice here it says bonus first appointment discount. So something that I'm doing right now, or you could say we're doing as well, or you could kind of massage the language a little bit here too. Maybe there's some fine tuning, some refinement, but you'll see, hey, you'll notice here it says bonus first appointment discount. I do come equipped with a first appointment incentive in order to help save time and money. So when we go into pricing, I'll make sure I highlight where that's at. I also, or we're also doing something a little bit extra special right now, where for your first 3 months, whatever ad size you decide to go with, going to give you a larger ad size just for those first 3 months. See how you like it. Does that make sense? And they'll go, oh yeah, that's pretty cool, right? So you can introduce it here, and then you just have that as a tool when you go into pricing. So I hope that helps. Those are the two different areas you can introduce the first month promo right now. Remember, you can just choose one of two things. I'll follow this up with an email. One of two things. First thing is you can do a 1 month upgrade ad size, so you can introduce that. Might as well do the 3 months if you're going to use it in these two ways. And I know there are other ways people are using it as well. I just am a huge fan of that, simply introducing something, acting as if with the language. You'll notice all the language that I use or aim to use is directed as at we're doing business together. So there's not any room for doubt. It's all advancing the conversation. So I hope you really love this and hope you find it useful. Would love to get feedback as always. I'm going to try to get this one on the YouTube channel instead of the Google Drive. The other ones were too long for YouTube, go figure. And I'm out. I'm cutting myself off. Hope you enjoy.